Hi, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Made by Marymount, the official Marymount Athletics podcast. Today, I'm joined by men's wrestler Tallion Elliot. Today, Tallion and I talk about his unique path to Marymount, about the success in his first year, and a little bit about pre-practice dodgeball. With that, let's talk to Tallion. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Made by Marymount, the official Marymount Athletics podcast. Today, I am joined by men's wrestler Tallion Elliot. Tallion, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm excited to talk to you today, learn a little bit about wrestling here, talk to you, because I think you kind of have a unique experience, had a very successful year last year. We're going to touch on that, and then talk a little bit about this year. So, you're in your second year here at Marymount as a Saint, and you came in last year in January. So, you came in a different time than some people do. I want to talk about that experience a little bit. What was that like? So what brought you here to Marymount?
So I went to a post-grad school after high school, and my coach from there, he wrestled in college at VMI with Coach Hill, and they were in contact with each other. And he told him I was looking for schools to go to, and he had called me and he told me about Marymount, about Coach Hill. And so I was like, all right, go up there. I got in contact with Coach Hill. It was pretty nice because Marymount's only 45 to an hour.
That's what you could say, because you're right up the road in Maryland.
Yes, so Marymount's pretty close, so I was able to get up here the next day, actually. And so I got up here, talked to Coach Hill, talked to Coach Sahid, Coach IB, got in contact with them, and then we got the ball rolling, applied, and we were like, all right, we're going to get here in January.
So the Marymount men's wrestling coaching staff is a phenomenal coaching staff, some of the best in the game. Tell me a little bit about it was like being recruited by those guys, because you obviously have Coach Hill and you have these guys that have these numerous awards and they're very talented in the sport. What was that like? This type of talent recruiting you?
It definitely was. It was something cool to experience. I knew about the success that the coaching staff had here. So talking to them and seeing how much they were interested in recruiting me and how much in contact they were staying with me, it definitely made me feel wanted. And I knew that I felt like Marymount was somewhere where I could grow, not only as a wrestler, but also as a student and as a person, being around people of that caliber. So it definitely was interesting. It was something cool to experience. And I like that they made me feel like family.
Yeah.
And I know there are a lot of places where sometimes coaches almost put on a front when they're recruiting. And I felt like I wasn't getting that here. And I know I'm still not, because they've stayed the same all since we stayed in contact.
Under a year later and you're still here. So that's got to mean something.
It is.
So you came in January. So you guys, we're talking now, you guys have already started getting into gear, getting ready to start. So you've been practicing. So your team was a little bit together before you got there. What was it like, coming in January? These guys already know each other. They know how each other works. And you're like, hey, I'm new.
Yeah, so I was definitely nervous at first. I knew Marcus Lewis. Okay. We grew up wrestling together. So I've known him since I was 6 years old. So he kind of was able to introduce me to people when I took my visit here. Mm-hmm. And then they made me feel like family instantly. I didn't feel any kind of tension or anything coming. I took my visit here. I talked to everybody, got to know everybody. And as soon as I stepped foot on campus in January, it was like we were already brothers. We were family. We were getting included, hanging out with each other. I was hanging out with some of them also right before I got on campus.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah. So after my visit, I stayed in contact with a lot of them. And then around December time, I was hanging out with them. So it was cool. I felt like I was already, I had been here since August, right when I got on campus.
Because it can be hard, and this goes for anything, for a class, work, school, sports, whatever. Going into something when, everybody's kind of established is nerve-wracking. What was the adjustment like coming in to Marymount in January, aside from sports, academically, coming into college and you're like, okay, everybody else kind of knows their way around here. They know what a college class is like. They know all this stuff. What was the transition like for you there?
I would say the transition, it was a little challenging at first. And that's because also, everybody has their friend groups that they hang out with. And I knew that I was going to have to find where I fit in the school. And aside from just hanging out with wrestlers, because I also don't want to hang out with only my teammates. I want to branch out and talk to other people. So it definitely was a challenge at first. And then I realized just making friends in classes or just talking to people in passing, joining different clubs or going to different like organizations and events. I figured I was going to meet people. So that was something I really tried to prioritize. So I would say the transition, like the first 2 weeks was challenging, but after that it started to get easier. And then around February, March, I would just felt like I was comfortable.
Yeah, I see you getting involved. Proud member of SAC over here. I see it. I get it. So last year, you're coming in for your first year, quite the year that you had. You had a pretty nice start off. Tell me a little bit about what that was like, having your first year of college wrestling and able to go to NCAA regionals and then eventually a second team All-State. Tell me a little bit about what it was like coming in January and then having to, battle through for a couple of months and then at the end, have this pretty sweet reward.
So it was a transition for sure. I had taken a couple of months off of wrestling. So when I got back in January, I knew that I would have to kind of pick things up. Right
so away. Taking a break, what does that like entail for like a wrestler? Like for swimming, that means I just don't get in the water. What does that really mean for you? Like to say you're taking a break?
For me, when I was taking a break, I wasn't doing anything.
Okay.
So
we were really getting back into it.
Yeah. So I wasn't on the mat. I was lifting. That was it. I wasn't running. I wasn't really doing anything. I just completely stopped wrestling.
Hey, sometimes you gotta do it.
Yeah, so I was completely out of it. And then actually in December, I went to a tournament in Pennsylvania. I wrestled unattached unattached up there. And I think within like the first minute of my first match, I was already gassed. So I was like, oh, geez. Okay. So I knew that when I got on campus in January, I was going to have to pick things up and get things going right away. So it was definitely a transition, but I really do credit my teammates for helping me with that. Momo, we were getting up in the morning and we were running and we were doing extra stuff because we had saw that like we were getting gassed and we were just like, all right, we have to make a change. So I really credit him for helping me with that part as well. So it was challenging at first. And then I just noticed reaching out to my teammates and coaches and just being vulnerable and letting them know like, I'm going to need some help. There's some things I got to pick back up on. And that really helped a lot.
So what do you think was like the biggest thing that really worked for you, taking that time off and you came back and you kind of realized, hey, I got to do a little bit more than, maybe somebody else, maybe than, this other teammate of mine, I have to step up. What was something that really flipped the switch for you that you were like, okay, this here works for me. I need to continue doing this.
I definitely would say running. So.
See, I was like thinking, I'm like, everybody's going to say running. He's probably going to say running.
No. So I grew up running track, playing football and wrestling. And
so you were active.
I was. And I used to run long distance. And so I enjoyed running. And then it kind of got to the point where like I stopped and I was like, all right, I don't like running anymore.
Once you stop running, it's over.
I was like, no, I'm done with it. And so I didn't run for a while. And then I noticed that like I was getting tired in my matches and I just was like, I need to build my cardio up. So I started running sprints and doing intervals. And so I realized that helped out, which I kind of continued going. I've gotten into more like distance running now. But so I think running actually helped out a lot.
Probably right.
But I think that there's also some other things like getting on the Aerodyne bike that helps, doing sprints on that. And honestly, just wrestling. I feel like the more you wrestle, the better just in wrestling shape you get. So,
you talked about Momo here and, the kind of bond that you guys created and like to push each other as teammates, as friends too. Tell me a little bit about the men's wrestling team bond that you guys have, because you guys kind of travel in like a pack. I feel like if I see one, I see another. You guys are very close. Tell me a little bit about what it's like being on that team.
It's special. I would say, a lot of jokes. I feel like we're on joke time all the time.
Because you guys are still a relatively young team going into the third year of Marymount men's wrestling.
Yeah.
So you guys still, have some guys that have been here, only 3 years. So you don't really have like, the senior aspect, somebody that's been through all 4 years. So you guys are still, in a sense, you're all kind of young.
Yeah. So I feel like we are. We're a very young team, and with that, I feel like we're all just kind of leading each other, basically. But like speaking on the team bond, it's a lot of jokes all the time. I feel like they're always on joke time, which is also very nice because especially when the season gets like grueling and kind of daunting, it's good to have teammates who are making jokes, who are kind of making it a little bit lighter. It makes it easier to get through. So I would say we have a special bond. I feel like we are always hanging out with each other. Anytime, how you said, I see one, I always know there's somebody else right with them. Or
you're like, oh, where's that?
yeah, like where's the rest of the pack? And then you see them. So I think that it also helps out with like our team chemistry. There's really no tension between the guys, and if there is, it gets talked out right away.
Yeah.
So I think that we have a bond where it works out, which also helps because when we're traveling on the road, you don't want to be on the road for 4 or 5 hours with somebody that you don't like. So
yeah, it's not a good mix.
It's not. So I think that that's good. And also, I think that also just is because how much we hang out outside of practice.
Right.
Like I know we have a couple of guys on the team who like love Pokemon Go. So they're playing Pokemon Go all the time.
Just like going like walks around campus.
Yeah,
playing.
they're always walking around playing or working out, going to the gym together. And then when we're in the van going to tournaments, we always play Mafia, the card game.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, yeah, it's a card.
I know nothing about cards.
We always play with each other. So
that's sweet.
Yeah.
On the vans. So we're going to backtrack a little bit. So last year you went to NCAA regionals. Tell me a little bit about that experience because that's a pretty big deal in your first year. Tell me what that was like, the preparation that took, ultimately, being able to go to that, and that sets up, that sets the stage for the next 3 years for you.
Yeah. So it was definitely fun to experience having my teammates there. Everybody traveled down with us. So we had.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yep. So we had everybody travel with us. So it was cool to have like your teammates cheering and all that. The preparation going into it was rough.
Yeah.
It was. We picked up the intensity a little bit. We started to taper down kind of right before, but before that, it was kind of intense. And I think that it was also a lot of extra work going in behind the scenes doing stuff. I knew that just wrestling during practice time wasn't going to give me the results that I wanted. So a lot of extra work was going in to that, which I feel helped out a lot. And then regionals itself was... it was an experience. So top 3 at regionals qualify for nationals. I ended up taking 6.
Which is still good.
It is.
I am going to preface that. That is still phenomenal.
Thank you. I had, but being at regionals itself, we went down to Lycoming in Pennsylvania, or up to Lycoming in Pennsylvania. And I think that before, like the week itself, I knew it was a big deal. It was the biggest tournament so far. And I think that I let it get to my head a little bit. I was like kind of looking at how big it was.
Right. You kind of psych yourself out a little bit.
Yeah. And so I went to regionals. Everything went well. We got down there the day before. And then at regionals, I lost first round. And so I was like, geez, it's going to be a long way to battle back. I had to win 3 matches in a row just to get to day 2 to place. And so I lost that first match, and I was down. I was like, all right, it's gonna be a battle. But I really shout out my coaches there because, especially Sahid, he pulled me aside and he just was like, somebody's got to do it. Basically, somebody's got to battle back in place. And he kept telling me that throughout the day, and he kept pulling me aside, letting me know like one match at a time, not to look at it. I think that I was looking at it kind of the bigger picture. I was like, I have to win this amount of matches to get back to where I want. And then he told me that, if you look at the big picture like that, then you're gonna like make a mistake along the way. And so to look at the matches one by one, which I felt like I started to do. So it was challenging. It was a hard tournament. Yeah, it was a lot of I wrestled a lot of older guys also as well. And so I was grateful.
Right.
I was grateful for the experience I got to have going there. And, I'm looking forward to doing a little bit better this year, get on top of the podium. That's the goal.
So you guys are rocking and rolling right now. You'll start on Sunday. Am I correct? Yes. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about what it's been like, getting started this year. And for you, getting started a whole lot earlier than you did last year. So tell me what that's been like, a little bit of like preseason activity, getting into the start of things now.
Yes, for sure. It's exciting. Yeah. It's very exciting. The morale on the team right now is pretty high.
Yeah, you guys kind of rowdy?
Yeah, we are. We are. And so the practices right now, they're pretty hard. Mm-hmm. It's getting picked up a lot. During preseason, we were going a couple days out the week, and then we had some club practices that we were also able to go to. And then, I think around 3 weeks ago, we started going every day. So now we're going 5 days a week, and they're pretty intense. The practices, yeah.
How long are your practices?
2 hours.
Yeah, yikes.
So we go from 5:30 to 7:30, but usually we get out around 8. Usually because we roll up our mats.
Winding down for bed at that time.
Oh yeah, no, we're always rushing the dining hall too.
Yeah,
we do the dining hall before it closes. So, usually by the time we move the mats down, spray the mats down, and all that stuff is around.
Yeah, because y'all just aren't like done. Once you're done wrestling, you're not just done. You gotta like clean up and all that.
Yeah, so we gotta do that. But usually we start right at 5:30 on the dot every day, and then by the time we get through our warm up, we play dodgeball. We play dodgeball every day to warm up, which also helps out with morale.
I was going to say, that's kind of fun.
It is.
Does it get like competitive?
Oh, it's so competitive.
You guys like wailing like balls at each other?
Yeah, we had like the soft kind of ones you have in like PE.
Yeah.
But we started using volleyballs. So we found some in the gym, and then we started using those. So it's competitive.
I would imagine.
It's a lot of arguing. Somebody like, I hit you. They're like, no, you didn't. So we have a lot of that. And then in the locker room, we actually have a whiteboard that has the dodgeball team scores because we play in duos.
Okay. So y'all are like legit with this.
Oh yeah.
It's not just like it's not a little chill warm up. Like.
Oh no, gotcha. It's intense. It's a lot of trash talking going on. Yeah, everything. And then a lot of the teams from last year, like the duos, are still duos this year. So I partner with Juju a lot of the time.
Are you guys like good?
Yeah, we are. Me and Juju are the no. Me and Juju are the best ones. Yeah, the best ones.
Who? Okay, did somebody win last year? Do you guys like have like a winner?
Ron and Dylan. Oh my God.
It seems to be salt and seems to be some sort of feelings.
No, yes. They talk trash all the time. They talk trash all the time. And Ron and Juju are roommates also. So yeah. So we're always going at it. But Ron and Dylan were the winners last year. So, I'm not.
Well, who's gonna take the crown this year?
Me and Juju and I.
I'll check back in.
We're taking the crown.
And then I'm gonna find out.
Yeah.
So I'm holding you to that.
As of this year, so far, the Ians have been winning. So we have Ian Harris and Ian Morales.
Okay.
They're teammates. So they've been winning the most this year.
Well, you better step it up.
Yeah, I need to lock in a little bit when it comes to dodgeball. But we play dodgeball, so that helps out with morale. And then after that, we're practicing, we're going at it for the remainder of the time.
So kind of like my last question that I'm going to kind of end off with before we hit some little fast-paced questions. What is the best way? Because wrestling is just like full body. Like that's everything. So you guys are obviously feeling it on a roller coaster level.
Yeah.
What is like the best way for maybe you to recover? So let's say like, Friday hits, you're like, man, like I am hurting. I'm not feeling good at all, but I have to be ready to go for Monday night. I got to be ready for Monday practice. Or even if you have a match, on the weekend, what is the best way for you guys to recover? Like, what are you doing to maybe, have your body feel a little bit better? Like, what are you doing?
So for me, I eat ice cream.
That's not where I thought this was going to go. No, but okay, like mood, no. I guess.
So I eat ice cream, and I don't think it helps out it doesn't help my body at all. But I like psychologically, I'm like,
okay,
I feel better after a hard practice and I eat ice cream. Okay. So I eat ice cream. Vanilla. I get it from the dining hall. I get it from the dining hall. So I eat ice cream every practice, and my teammates give me so much trash about it all the time. I'm eating ice cream. I feel like that helps. And I hear it every day. They're like, dude, what are you doing? I was like, I have to.
Guys, you don't get it. Like, I just have to.
You don't understand. I have to have this ice cream. So that's what I do. But also, I feel like utilizing the athletic trainers.
Yeah.
I'm heating every day before practice. Usually when I go in there, practice was at 5:30. I try to get in there by like 4:45. There's like 7 wrestlers always in there at the same time. So
again, like I say, you travel in packs.
You travel in packs. So heating and then a lot of stretching.
Yeah.
I feel like that helps. And then active recovery. So I like to go on like light jogs on some of our off days. I usually don't want to, but sometimes it's just you have to. So I go on light jogs a lot of the time. And then again, eating ice cream.
I get that.
It's
I'm a big sweet treat kind of girl, so like I get that. Like that's the psychological part of it. If I have a bad day, well, guess I have to do something that night and go get a treat. Like
ice cream, M&Ms, and Reese's Pieces.
Okay.
Those are the go-tos. I'm gonna have to cut it out now since we have to start making weight. So, not
hang in there
to as much, but I've made the joke that I'd rather cut out a meal if I means I get to eat ice cream. So it's like a joke, but like I'm serious.
But like, guys, I'm not kidding.
Like, guys, I'm not joking. Like, I'll skip dinner if it means I get to have ice cream that day. So that's how I approach it.
So as we kind of end off, I'm going to ask you a couple. I was going to do fast paced, but now I'm more intrigued to find out the answer to these questions. Okay. So we're going to kind of find out a little bit deeper about you. Okay. So what are you doing pre-match?
Pre-match, I listen to music.
Okay, that's where I was hoping
that I listen to music. But
what type?
Slow R&B.
Okay.
So I realized that when I listen to like hype or like rap music, I get like very anxious and like kind of a little too hyper before my matches. So I started slowing it down last year, and I started listening to like SZA.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go SZA before the matches.
Me.
Or I listen to Ordinary People by John Legend.
Okay.
That song, it relaxes me, it slows me down. And then I realize it kind of puts into perspective like everybody's human, kind of anybody can get beat just like that. And so those are my 2 go-tos. And
so I was just told, like literally before we came downstairs into Suite 23, you have just created a new Instagram.
I did.
Can you tell me a little bit about that?
So I'm big on my faith and Christianity. And so I realized that wrestling is just like the platform I've been given, and spreading like my faith is my main goal here on earth. And so I created a new Instagram with Mateo Hernandez, and it's called Grapplers for Glory. And so we do a couple verses a week where we record ourselves like a Bible verse of the day, and then we share that and share our thoughts on it and how we feel we can apply it to our lives moving forward. Yeah. And then other days we post either on Tuesdays and Thursdays. It'll either be a Technique Tuesday or Technique Thursday, where we share a move of the week.
Okay.
So we're kind of trying to implement both like wrestling and our faith, and we feel like it's just a way to kind of spread Christianity like to other wrestlers.
Right.
And so that's what we've been working on. And one of our teammates, Henry Lunsford, he's a freshman. He's been letting us borrow his mic that he has.
Oh, like a little mini mic?
A little mini mic. Yeah. So our audio gets picked up, and we kind of, we just post videos doing that. And so that, I found that that's also helped out a lot, because I feel like it keeps me grounded and allows me to remember like my main purpose with the wrestling, which I feel like is share my faith. So Grapplers for Glory is our...
Drop a follow.
So 4 Grapplers, number 4 Glory right there. Quick little promo.
Hey, you gotta do it. Gotta do it. All right, Tallion, well, I want to thank you for joining me today. I loved getting to chat with you today. Looking forward to hearing about the rest of your season. Good luck this weekend. You guys have a little bit of a season to go here. Hang in there, you know, as it gets a little bit, as we winter sports like to say, it gets down and dirty. But good luck this weekend, and good luck with your season.
Thank you.